thrilled to have anybody from the greatest sport in the history of mankind, moguls. Even more thrilled when we have somebody who won a gold medal in the greatest sport ever in the history of mankind. But it's an extra privilege if we actually can talk to somebody who has a title that will basically never go away. We're talking about the first ever Canadian to win gold on home soil, the one and only Alex Bilodeau. Alex, so thrilled to have you here today.
Very thrilled to be there. Thanks for the invite.
You know, we always like to ask about, how somebody got started in the sport. And I always am particularly interested when we're talking to somebody in a sport that's as insane and fast paced and, for anybody watching on TV, scary, something like moguls. You got into it at a young age. How did you actually get involved in the sports? And, were your parents the ones who encouraged this?
Oh, no, I was like any good Canadian. I started as a hockey player. And my dad played junior major league hockey here in Quebec. And at one point, I was starting to travel across other province for tournaments, and my little sister and my older brother were following me in the arenas, drinking sludge and eating poutine. Oh. So my mom at one point decided, I was actually only 8 years old, and my mom decided it was going to be my last hockey tournament, and she announced that to me after we won the tournament.
Wow!
On the drive back home, and I was quite pissed. And actually, I looked at my dad. I'm like, Dad, you're a hockey player. Like, you guys can't do that to me. All my friends were around hockey, and I grew up with the sons of Gaétan Boucher, the famous Canadian speed skater. He won multiple Olympics in speed skating on track. And so I grew up with his sons, and we were playing hockey all day long, mini hockey, Nintendo hockey, roller hockey, everything, ice hockey. And my world was around that. And my mom, that's when I understood my mom was wearing the pants in the family. It was actually my last hockey tournament. My dad couldn't convince my mom that she wanted to do a family sport. And that coincide, in terms of date, coincide with the dates that Jean-Luc Brassard won Lillehammer Olympics in 94. And I was actually quite pissed. I was a weekend skier here and there when I didn't have any hockey tournament. I first put skis on at 3 years old, and but I really didn't like skiing. I thought it was boring. I thought like weekend class and for kids were quite boring. So I was always going away from my instructor. And that winter, when I stopped hockey, I watched the Olympics in Lillehammer and on TV, and I thought that sport was so cool. And I turned around to my mom like, if I have to ski, I have to do freestyle skiing. That's all I'm gonna do. And so I cut a deal with her, and she put me in the freestyle club, and that's where my passion for the sport started, from the bottom up. So
the rest is history. So was it a goal with the hockey side of things? Were you dreaming of pulling on a Habs jersey? Because I guess as a kid you're thinking probably more NHL than representing Team Canada, because obviously NHL players weren't allowed in the Olympics at that period.
Yeah, for sure. As a young hockey player, you always dream about being in the NHL, but. With my size 5'8", I don't think I would have made it that far. So I'm actually glad that my mom put a fence at one point and decided my fate. And I guess I created, or I fell in love with a new sport from the get-go. And I'm somebody that's quite intense in whatever I do, and I was 8 years old and I was loving it. Mogul skiing. I did aerials also for a long time, although to national team. Trampoline classes to help. I wanted to do all the training camps, and I was fortunate that my parents allowed me to do more of these trainings.
So you say you did aerials. Did you do ski ballet? Because ski ballet was still a big thing back then wasn't it?
I'm not that old.
Disappointed.
I'm not that old. No. Ski ballet stopped, I think, in 92 or something. And I started in 94, I think. Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Something
It's one of these ones I love. I mean, they bring it up, don't they? Every time there's a Winter Olympics, remember this sport. And it's just, I want it to come back. Like it seems so fun. Like we need ski ballet back. That's just my annual pitch for it to come back, Alex. So, people, we can push it forward there.
Yeah, no, I think I had some coaches that were all the ski ballet. They were doing all of it before. You had to do it. It was like a gymnastic. You had to do all disciplines, and they were talking like ski ballet was fun. I'm like, guys, it's impossible. It can't be fun.
Equally important question. Your history, it makes me warm inside to know that your history of loving this sport coincides with mine, watching Jean-Luc Brassard for the first time in Lillehammer. But you mentioned playing like NHL hockey and stuff like that as well. Did you ever get a chance to play the Lillehammer video game for Super Nintendo and the moguls on it?
No, I haven't. Super Nintendo moguls? I didn't even know that existed.
I never had a chance to play the game when it originally was out. And then my wife got a Super Nintendo. Well, she's had one for a few years. And then she went and found the Lillehammer game at like a used store and got it. And I played the moguls. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. There is a moguls video game, but it is impossible. I could do every other sport in that video game except for moguls.
Wow.
I have to find it. I think there's Super Nintendo games that are with chips that you can find somewhere. Oh, yeah. I have to try that. Yeah. I know there was I tried once the one at the Wii. You had like moguls with it was terrible. I mean, you had to flip like that. I was like, that's stupid.
They're always so fun. Like and they always became button bashing games, didn't they? Like Olympic video games. I just recently got a whole bunch of the old ones and I haven't got a chance to replay them, but my childhood similar playing them. So that could be something we could do, Colin. Maybe we need to get Olympians to like battle us in Olympic video games to see them if
tournament.
We can some way in our life be better than Olympians in something. That would be fun. I'd be down for that challenge. I mean,
you should sold this. Yeah. Dale and Alex come back, but only on video game because their body can't follow.
Hey, that is a good thing to think
Rematch.
of. I'm going to write that down. What just when you're sort of progressing and you pick it up and you're sort of going through those motions, like how was that seen in the 90s? Because obviously freestyle skiing had just been included at the Olympics in 1992. So it's still very fresh on a lot of people's minds. But sort of what was the scene like, particularly in moguls in Canada, sort of going through into the late 90s and early 2000s as you're making your way through it?
Yeah, freestyle has been quite popular around obviously Canada and Quebec. Aerials with Langlois that actually won. Lloyd Langlois won the Calgary Olympics that was in demonstration in aerials. So in theory, he should have been the first Canadian to win gold on Canadian soil, but it was only in demonstration. And then Albertville with the first Olympics that were actually admitted, or sport was admitted. And then we had one medal, if I'm not mistaken, in Albertville, which was silver. And then in aerials, and then moguls with Jean-Luc, that became a super legend here in Canada for many years and a role model for multiple kids to jump into the sport. And yeah, I think it was, and then it fed the whole local groups full of kids, full of new instructors, and yeah, it was very good for the sport here in Canada.
And you were able to, get inspired by Jean-Luc Brassard, but I mean, as the sport's growing and everything, I mean, you're sort of starting to come in right at the beginning of like Canada's dominance, in moguls, following us on Jen Heil. I mean, did you have the opportunity did you start to see more opportunities come up, I guess, at the time you're coming in because of the success of Jean-Luc and Jen Heil?
I mean, obviously, Jean-Luc brought the bar for the first time at another level. And then we had multiple male success on the World Cup, medals, but not as much at the Olympics until Jen came in, as you mentioned. And Jen dominated the sport for so many years. And she was my Jen is a bit my big sister. I grew up with her on the slopes from the national team up. She acted as a mentor to me in the gym also. So I was very close to her. So yeah, obviously Jen helped a lot on opening multiple doors for me. The insecurity of coming for the first time on the World Cup as a rookie, and rapidly I became. I was ranked probably around 100th in the world in 2005, and a few months later, I was ranked number 2 in the world, just behind Dale, going into my first Olympics. And definitely, Jen was a great mentor with that progression and facing all those new challenges that I had on my first year on a World Cup circuit. Like the Olympics were my 7th event in my career on the international scene. So I had 6 World Cup at the beginning of the season. And then I was at the Olympics ranked 2nd. So definitely lots of doors, lots of opportunities were opened by people in front of me.
One thing I actually have never really talked a lot to athletes about is when you do get brought up to a World Cup circuit, because it tends to happen like at a very young age and everything. I mean, is it something that, you have coaches or mentors or anybody that prepares you for, or is it literally something where it's just thrust on you? It's like, you know what, we have an opening, we're bringing you up, get ready, you're about to take on the best in the world.
I mean, it's national team is divided in 2. So you have the development team that's and the World Cup team. Often it's about 7 or 8 men and 7 and 8 women on each. And you're just crossing your fingers at one point when you're on the development team. You're focused on your performance and you cross your fingers that somebody's not performing well or gets injured on top. And unfortunately for me, and when I was 17 on the development team, I think I was 2nd in North America, performing well. And I won national championship, but nobody got injured that year. And I didn't get my chance on the World Cup to actually ski an event. And at the end of the season, since I won national championship and they actually opened me they swapped me with somebody else in terms of points. Every year they reassess. Yeah, I didn't have the opportunity. So it's a bit not to answer your question. There's not much preparation. It's coming up. You never know when. You're fighting really hard. Focus on what you have to do to deliver your performance. And at one point, you just you get called up.
Wow. And that progression you're talking about with the World Cup. I mean, you're 18 when you make your debut. Your 3rd World Cup, you win it. And as you say, then your 7th basically event, you're at the Olympics. Does it surprise you that you get so good so quickly, or are you so mentally you're aware of your ability, so you think to yourself, yeah, I know I'm this good, no doubt I'm going to be 2nd in the world going into the Olympics, this is where I expect to be? Or does it completely blow your mind that you're able to be that successful so quickly?
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, I thought I could compete against these guys because I was one of the best jumpers in the world with the degree of difficulty that I had that nobody had. I was doing a backflip 2 spin, back double full on top, and I in 2005, and I was working on a second jump that nobody could do in the world, which was a cork 1080 at the bottom. Back then, nobody could do it yet, and I was working on it. And that summer, I remember chatting with my coach, saying, "Hey, I really want to be at the Olympics next winter." We're gonna start the season. We're in like summer of 2005. So and I knew I was gonna start the World Cup, the season on the World Cup scene. But my coach was like, "Alex, we have so much to work on. Let's not focus on 2 jumps that are very complicated. Let's just focus on your moguls and certain elements of your technique." To make a smooth entry on the World Cup circuit. But I knew deep down, if I could pull my 2 jumps, I could compete against these guys. Even though I was maybe not as fast, maybe not as perfect technically. And I really did work off hours on my second jump, and I got that second jump ready for the first World Cup in Ting. And I pulled my two big jumps at the first World Cups, and again, as you saw, third World Cup I won because I pulled my two jumps, didn't do any mistakes on that, and I knew I could. So maybe of a lack of experience, but I knew I could deep down, and it caught everybody by surprise. Really, when I came in drastically that first year, ranked second.
Which then, how does that feel going into the Olympics? Do you feel that added pressure that you go in ranked number 2, there's a bit of success, or because you're still so young, you first Olympics, you've never experienced it before, it's kind of like, yeah, this is easy, this is just another event, I'm going to go away with a medal. Like, how did you find that first Olympics in the lead up with everything that kind of had happened beforehand?
I mean, as the season go up, so if I bring you like to December, a few months before the Olympics, I'm getting ready for my first World Cup. If you asked around who was giving me the good probabilities of being at the Olympics, very few people. Very few people. Deep down, I thought I had good probabilities, but I didn't say it out loud. So I performed my first World Cup, and in Canada we're quite good. So meaning like going to the Olympics, you have to be top 3 in the Canadian team, which is like top 10 in the world.
Yeah.
So for getting into the first World Cup, I finished 11th, which was pretty good. Second, I finished 11th. But even though those results are great for a young rookie, it was not enough for me to be part of the Olympics. So I was back at home in Christmas, and I talked with my parents, and I was like, guys, maybe everybody was right. Maybe it was a far reach to be at the Olympics this year. You know what? I'm just going to focus on enjoying. I might not make it to the Olympics in 2006. And I have to look at Vancouver in 2010. So I came back early January for my third World Cup, which was in Mont-Gabriel, where I grew up. It's like my hometown, in front of my family and friends, and skied my first World Cup there and pulled my two big jumps, no mistake, and I finished first that day. Then it gave me a boost of confidence, and then it got the thing rolling. I finished fourth the following, second the following, and first in Prague, which was the last race before the Olympics, or the last race that counted for the Olympics. And so now in 4 races, I went from being far in the rankings to like being second. And now I didn't feel I was like an intruder. I felt like it was my gold medal to lose. I'm an accountant by background now, so you can imagine I'm very Cartesian, and I'm like, I've got the best degree of difficulty. It's a multiple. It's a multiplier. So mathematically, if I don't do any mistake, I win. That's it. So I'm like, I'm going to the Olympics, and that's what I said. My last meeting with my sports psychologist before the Olympics, I'm like, Wayne, I'm going to the Olympics. It's my gold medal to lose. If I don't do any mistake, I'm bringing home the gold medal. That's it. And he's like, oh my God, we have so much. But I was 18 back then, and I was a bit cocky, and I went like head down. I'm like, that's mine. And unfortunately, I came in with obviously a lack of experience, and I did a mistake on my bottom air at the Torino Olympics, and we know the results. So it was a great experience that made me mature, if I could say, very rapidly. So beforehand, to answer your question, I came in very cocky, knowing that I could win the Olympic gold there. And when I walked home with nothing, I'm like, okay, I have 4 more years to think about it and get ready.
In a weird way, I mean, that cockiness is what gets you there, and then getting there and maybe not succeeding is what will actually allow you to grow from that point on. I mean, as you have such a short timeline leading up to Turin, and you're saying that, like, you know, coaches and sports psychologists are like, I don't know about that. Like, did you start to see any shift in the support for you? And it's like, you know what, maybe you could make this work if we do this, this, and this.
They tried beforehand in Torino, but I was quite focused on, you know what, I'm 18. I was 18. You know what, I know best. When I did what I wanted, or in the last two World Cups I won. So why should that be different in Torino? Like, hey, I understand now. I won, so I can do it again. Yes, but at the Olympic level, when you have I would say the gun on your head, it's one shot, one bullet. That's it. 23 seconds, and then there's no tomorrow. I couldn't grasp the importance or what the Olympics meant before actually my Torino experience. For me, my Torino experience was the first time I understood what the Olympics really meant. That there's no tomorrow, there's no next week, there's no next month, there's no next year. It's in 4 years. And I remember at the bottom crying my eyes out and hearing at far Dale winning and with the Australian anthem going, and I'm like,
sort of Canadian winning
medal.
Sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. But like, I remember that moment very vividly, crystal clear, and it's just like that gold medal I imagined for the last few weeks that was mine will never be mine. Like, it's just done, finish. And all those what if thoughts come in your mind, like, what if in 4 years I get injured a week prior to the Vancouver Olympics? Like, all those, and you're kind of trying to understand that there's so much out of your control on top of your preparation. Like, and you're like, all those what if, get injured. There's a new rookie coming up, kicking your butt. Worst case, you win everything in the next 4 years. You're ready. You're the favorite in Vancouver games, and you do a slight little mistake. All your country will see you with like, oh, you know what? He can't be clutched. He can't be performing in the right moment when it's actually when it really counts. Kind of a loser in your forehead for the rest of your life. But after 2 Olympics, if you didn't clutch a medal, it's less than a minute of my life, both Olympics combined. So you're like, that's cruel. I mean, and there's so much out of your control, whether it's temperature, judges, and you're like, I could invest everything and still not have that medal. And anyway, so for me, Torino was a great lesson. And I often say to people that are asking me, hey, what is your medal in Vancouver versus Sochi? Which one do you prefer? I'm like, my 3 Olympic experience were as important for me in my career. And my 2 last were great, obviously, because of the result, but my first made me grew as a person and as an athlete. So,
which I'm glad you say that, because one thing that was important to me in this interview, Alex, was to talk about Turin, because I'm sure everybody always wants to talk to you about Vancouver and Sochi. We will talk about Vancouver and Sochi, don't worry. But I feel probably a lot of people maybe don't focus on that first one, because with everything you're saying there too, that helps. Also, the added pressure of Vancouver being a home Olympics, which you also have to deal with. We've talked to a lot of Australian athletes on this show who say had Atlanta before Sydney, and they've talked about getting everything that comes with the Olympics over and done with, knowing what to expect on that level, and then turn the wick up by 100, because then you've got every single camera lens and microphone in front of your face because you are at home. Did you feel that, given that extra pressure, that everything that you said with Turin helped with just the little things that an Olympics brings besides the home pressure as well?
Definitely. On a personal side, it made me grow as an individual. It made me mature drastically. It gave me a perspective. And with ifs, we could go very far. But I mean, I don't think with a success in Torino, I would have had the same result in Vancouver. I would have probably continued on my cockiness and probably learn my lesson on a longer time horizon. And I would probably have been a different person. That being said, getting towards Vancouver was definitely high pressure. There's all like home Olympics comes with like, and it's not only at the Olympics, it's the 4 years the cycle before. No, everybody knows it's coming up. There's so many programs helping the athletes in place by governments and like fundings and putting all the resources in place. There's all those cliches that everybody expects results with these investments into the athletes. And there's all the athletes that are kind of pushing that away. You know what? Like, yes, everybody expects high pressure. It's cliche, but at the end of the day, there is a pressure coming up. You're always talking about it. And it's a special moment to experience the Olympics at home. Not all Olympic athletes will experience that. So definitely you want to do the best for your country, but for yourself also. You've put so much on the line. So.
And also I can imagine not just you, but every single damn Canadian athlete was probably getting sick of the, hey, are we going to win a gold medal on home soil question, right? Like, was that the one where you just like, shut the fuck up and ask me about my skiing? I'm sick of that question. Yes, we want to win a damn medal on home soil. Of course we do. Move on.
It was at the point that nobody wanted to be in the first few days of the Olympics to not have that question because we knew somebody was going to win it. It was just, there was so many gold medal potential in the Canadian team, but it was just when and who's going to get it. So at the end of the day, we didn't spend too much time about it. But yes, for Canadian media, it was a big thing because it was kind of an insult for us to not have, or we were ashamed about not having won any gold medal in the 2 Olympics that we hosted in the past. So, but yeah.
Can I just add a weird little thing with that? I just want to say Australians, I think, with our great relationship with Canada, we took sympathy in those 2 Olympics that you didn't win gold medals in, because in Montreal, Australia famously didn't win a gold medal. That was, I think, the last Summer Olympics we've not won a gold medal in. And in Calgary, we weren't winning medals in the Olympics in the Winter Games back then. So from Australia's perspective, we side with our Canadian brothers and sisters by also not winning gold medals in those 2 Olympics. So you're welcome.
Saying we cursed you? Is that what you're getting at?
We're being very friendly and going, well, if Canada aren't going to win a gold, we're not going to win one either. So that's what we did. So you're welcome.
You know, Ben, mentioned it, but I mean, there's, for anybody who's not Canadian, Alex isn't underselling this at all. Like the amount of media attention that was on this, like you said, even years ahead of time.
In Australia too. Can I just say, we heard it in Australia too. Trust me, we knew about it very loudly.
I'm sure. Yeah. And literally everywhere. I mean, it was like, we're going to be putting all of these extra programs in place and developing athletes. And it was always about that goal of Vancouver. And I love that you actually mentioned, who's going to be the first one. You don't want to be competing in those first few days. Because I sort of always look back on it, and I remember it being like, it was an eternity. It was like, we went through half the Olympics with a goal, but I'm pretty sure, what was it, like day 3 or day 4 when you won?
It was day 2. Jen was day 1. I remember I was skiing the following night, so I didn't go up the hill to watch her. So I stayed in the Canadian Village with the athletes there and describing Jen's competition. Unfortunately, Jen finished second with great performance, but the Americans skied over her head and won the event. Everybody was a bit disappointed. I remember all the athletes from the Canada team were from other sport were like, "Okay, Alex, it's your turn tomorrow. Go to bed. Pressure's not off."
I loved your interview afterwards. I love that interview afterwards that you gave, where basically somebody asked you about it straight away, and you're just like, "Well, yeah, we've done it now," and you watch, this will completely break the damn wall. And it did, because you then obviously go on to win a record gold medal, top the medal table. So I love the way that you kind of almost had this like drop mic moment after your goal. Like, yeah, fuck, we did it. Shut up now, move on.
Exactly. And I think it, if I'm not mistaken, it took 3 to 4 days before we had a following second gold medal. Mm-hmm. We had a few other gold, bronze and silver medals. But I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, after like 3 days, I was like freaking out. Like I'm still the only one with the gold medal. And it was like, and then they roll out. We had 14, if I'm not mistaken. And then it was like one after the other. But it was, I remember after a few days being just interviewing like for 24/7, I was like, people were still talking about, oh, you're still the only one. I'm like, oh my God, please someone come and join me.
half serious, half, just my own amusement question. But, you mentioned like good friends with Jen Heil and everything. Do you know, was there any part of her that was like, you know what, I was this close to being not just the first Canadian to win our home soil, but also the first freestyle skier to win back-to-back medals and the first Canadian to win back-to-back medals? Is there any part of her that was like, I was this close and you stole it from me, Alex?
Knowing Jen Heil, no. It was more her dream of winning the Olympics at home than winning the first Canadian goal on Canadian soil. Or being back-to-back. I think back-to-back for her sport was also one thing she wanted deeply. But yeah, no, never. I think Jen was just, and it was difficult for her. I remember Dom, which was the Jen's coach and my coach in Vancouver, and actually Dom is the boyfriend of Jen also. I had the discussion with Dom in the morning of my race. So the following night after Jen finished, so he went to bed very late, obviously coming back from the hill. And so I woke up in the morning and I had breakfast with Dominic and I was like, how's Jen? I knew she was devastated deep down, but because she was expecting the gold. And it was definitely difficult for her. But not in terms of winning that first gold medal on Canadian soil. It was just for her. She puts her expectation. She was dominating the sport at that point. Unfortunately, it didn't go as good. She did a great performance, but just, sometimes certain people go at the Olympics and they go balls to the wall, as we can say. and Anna Kearney did an amazing run over her head and won that night. So, but yeah, she was devastated.
She did a Dale. She did the gold in 2006, the silver in 20. Like that's that's the cool thing basically to do with that.
That's the title now. That's called the Dale.
Did a Dale. That's
yeah.
That's what you do. I mean, just a couple of questions on the fly. I mean, rewatching it, there's like two really great versions on YouTube. There's a version with the commentary, but then there's the version without the commentary, which really gives you a sense of the crowd and the atmosphere and just the reactions and everything like that. You've obviously kind of got two moments, I guess, to soak in that moment, because you go second last, so you cross the line, you see number one next to your name, so cool. But then you've obviously got to wait for one more ski to go down. What was the moment that brought the biggest emotions? Was it seeing the number one and then having to wait, or was it the moment when you officially knew you had the gold after the last runner had gone down and then it was confirmed that you were the gold medalist?
To be honest, like the atmosphere when I crossed, like when I got to the top of the course, was just a wall, 25 or 20,000 people like yelling. It's 300 meters from you, and it was so loud. But when I skied down, it was a good run. It was fast, but I was very fast, and I felt a bit like I was losing it, and I almost lost it on the top air because I went a bit over, but I kept it really nice for the judges. So from the angle of the judges, I kept it very perfectly from the bottom camera, but on the side camera, you see that I'm a bit tailed on my tail. So I didn't know, I knew personally how the judges saw my run. It's all often a very thin line in between of being on the edge and being over the edge and making mistakes for the judges' perspective. So when I got to the bottom, I looked at my coach. I didn't knew what to expect. I was like, that was fast, but I mean, I don't know if the judges saw my mistake, so I kept it clean. And I saw one of the coach at the bottom, and he's like, Alex, it was clean. I was like, okay. And when I saw number one, I knew it was still the French guy to go, but trust me, I sat down in that couch and it was so comfy. I was like, oh my God, this is the most comfortable. Like, worst case scenario, you're second at the Olympics. I mean, it was going to be an amazing night. And you kind of let everything go. You're like, the pressure's down. You're just sitting down with like, just watching the following guy. With all the pressure in the world, he's the last guy to go, and the French guy did a mistake at the top air. So we knew, and I remember there was Dale next to me, and Dale just like said, like, when the French guy landed the top air, he's like, "Congratulations, champion." So it's like he already knew, and we knew all together he was not going to end up on the podium with that.
Wow.
So yeah, it was.
Sorry to interrupt just there. A couple of things I wanted to add on that. I mean, I'll get to Dale. Trust me, you know I'm going to get to Dale. But the one thing that was burning in my mind as well, watching your run, is hearing Zombie Nation in the background when you're going down the hill. Like, is that your choice, or is that the organizer? Like, are you going like, I want Zombie Nation for my gold medal? Because that is an epic banger.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't choose any music. So,
wow, that was just them. It worked for you. It worked for your run.
I think they just play stuff on repeat. You kind of lucked out there.
What if I hear the It's like great song. That you touch on the couch bit, because I had to freeze frame this for our audio listeners. Please go to our video version of this, because I've got a couple of stills here to show you, Alex. So this is your reaction just sitting here. You know, you've crossed the line. You're waiting for the scores to come out. There you are. Yep, cool. Now, if I just move to this is. I
have an anecdote on that picture, though.
Oh, do you? Okay, well, I need to get that. But I just want to look at Dale here, not giving a shit. It doesn't matter. He's about to lose a gold medal, and you think, okay, well, when the scores come up, is he going to show any emotion? Perhaps, you know, there you are, number one next to your name. Yes, woo. But then let's go to Dale, see what his reaction is. Yeah, still doesn't give a shit. He's just chilling. Those couches must be that comfortable, but that's just Dale, right? He just doesn't give a shit. Yeah, sure, silver, that'll do. I mean, yeah, tell me about the picture, though. Now, I'm intrigued to hear kind of sort of that picture.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I was waiting for my score, and before it showed on the Jumbotron, the commentator, one of the commentator in the box was he's a French Canadian from Montreal, and he did the World Cup here in Quebec, in Montreal, for so many years. So I know him very closely, and we know each other personally. And he's commentating, and he gets the result maybe 3 seconds before it's put on the Jumbotron. And he looks at it, he raises his head, he looks at me, and he does this, and I'm like, and I see his face, and I couldn't believe, and I was like, still watching the Jumbotron, and that's my face that's like, no, he's telling me, but like, it's not out yet.
What an image. That's awesome. Great story. I love that.
And then you have like the eternity of that second. Oh, is he messing with me? Is this real?
And it's literally maybe 3 seconds. It's maybe a second and a half, but it's like so long.
The longest second and a half of your life, basically, when it comes out. I mean, look, we're going to Dale. We're here to celebrate Dale and yourself, Alex. But I mean, we had... I'm Australian. Come on, he's on the wall next to me. We had Mikko Ronkkinen on not too long ago, and sort of we talked about him losing to Dale in 2006, which is still to this day the closest moguls men's final in Olympic history. Your beating Dale is the second closest men's moguls final in history. I mean, at that point, he obviously was the reigning champion. He had a great success, the number one. I mean, does it add a bit of extra weight to your goal to beat someone like Dale Begg-Smith, kind of, and to start obviously your own legacy? But, you know, at that point, Dale was the number one in the world at that point.
Yes, definitely, and it was he was at his peak, and I mean, beating Dale, I mean, in Vancouver was definitely something. I would say it's just a statement, a statement to do it at a home, and his actual home, and that used to be Vancouver.
Yes,
but at the end of the day, for us, we all have flags in our back, but we're always competing against each other every week. So it's kind of the nature of what we do, competing. And the French skier Gilles was also getting better and better and starting to be very competitive against us. Also, and in Vancouver, if I'm not mistaken, I was not super well ranked before the games because I broke my feet in November, a few weeks before the season, and I lost a few races beforehand, so it didn't help me. But I mean, being at home and competing against Dale is definitely a statement for us.
Two things I'm going to close out with Dale, because I know Colin wants to talk about, a certain other Canadian mogul skier that he also reveres quite highly. But I first of all want to formally apologise on behalf of Australia for some of the comments that came out after that. We had one of our officials basically rip into the judges and saying Dale was robbed and, Alex didn't deserve to win the gold. So, 15 years later, let me just apologise on behalf of Australia for that little drama. But I've got to ask, Alex, Dale stories. Do you have anything like, do you go out and party with him that night? Like, does he party or does he just go off into the mist to his tropical island? Do you have any...
He fades off into the mist.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. And you see him in 4 years, maybe.
Both of the last. He parties, but he goes in the mist party.
How is he at partying? Is he a party animal once he lets his hair down?
Oh yeah, Dale is a pretty strong, or used to be a pretty strong party animal. But yeah, I mean, and I remember those comments in Vancouver, but it's legit. It's competitive. It's a judge sport. As I mentioned, I was a bit on the edge also. I know it's for certain people that saw the side camera, they're like, oh, Alex did a mistake on the top air. But if you really look for it from the angle of the judges, that mistake didn't show. So, but the TV shows the side camera for spectators. So it's easy to judge on that sense. And I would have probably been the first one to say the same thing if I would have been in that position. Or so at the end of the day, it's a judge sport, and the time also was considerably faster. So there's pros and cons, and I didn't really, and even Dale came to me and said, Alex, I mean, it's not my comments, and we all have opinions, and there's so many races that I thought I won against Dale, but the judges didn't think that. And in a season, it could happen 4 or 5 times both sides. So, I mean, it's a judge sport, and that's why we're pushing the limits all the time. And they're humans; they're not robots actually judging. I mean, yeah, and we had tremendous respect between Dale and I and all the other competitors, and we had a few nights, not at the Olympics, but after the Olympics on the finish of the World Cup tour. So. Good
to know. And final, sorry, Colin, but when was the last time you spoke to him, and do you know where he is? Because it's not just me; it's all of Australia's asking him.
It's been so many years. I have no clue where he's at.
Yeah, no one does. I don't think he does.
Certain people, he's in Bahamas, and now he's in Bermuda, and I'm I don't know. I haven't kept in touch, unfortunately.
I think the famous story was he was tracked down before Sochi. I think it was St. Kitts and Nevis he was tracked down to. I think some journalist found him. The last anyone's ever heard from him was after Beijing, when Cooper Woods, I think, got 4th from memory. He got a text, and all it said was, "You were robbed, DBS." And then basically it made the news here, oh my God, the reclusive Dale Begg-Smith has emerged from the mist. And he's texted, and Cooper Woods is yeah, this is from Dale. I've never met him before, but it's an honor to hear from him. And then that was it. So, yeah, we don't know where he's either.
We're tracking the proof of life on Dale Begg-Smith, basically. That's what it is. We had Britt Cox confirm that she spoke to him once. Then we got Cooper.
So anyway,
there's a timeline.
He likes to feed that mystery too. He really likes that. So,
and you hear nothing but good stories about him as well, outside of our media ripping into him. So that's why I feel the need to just shut up, Australian media. celebrate the man. He's still our equal greatest Winter Olympian of all time. That's the truth of the matter. So, yeah. Anyway, Colin, go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to shut up about Dale. Let me shut up about Dale.
Well, one of the things you mentioned earlier on is actually very refreshing, is that you kind of very honestly said, like, you fight for your spot doing this. And a small part of you is hoping somebody does get injured, right? And that you're worried about who's the next young kid who might be nipping at your heels. I mean, when you're going between Vancouver and Sochi, you now have another Canadian that you're doing battle with. The same way you're doing battle with Dale. 4 years later, you're doing battle with one of your own teammates, really, one of your own, neighbors. I don't know how close you guys live, but Mikael Kingsbury is coming along. I mean, as you're getting close to Sochi, I mean, is it different when you are, I guess, your mindset of competing? Is it different when it's somebody where it's like, this is another Canadian, so I am going to be happy. If I'm going to lose to somebody, I'm going to lose to them. What was it like as you're seeing him coming up, as I really want to end my career on the highest note?
I mean, personally, it doesn't make a difference which flag the other athletes has on his back. The big difference with Mick was we both had an attention from media tenfold because of that rivalry in between us for multiple years going into Sochi. And yeah, definitely it brought like the media attention higher towards that, because we were both Canadian fighting for gold and silver. And it was just like, even both Canadian will be there's going to be one Canadian disappointed with the silver medal at the Olympics. And yeah, so I mean, but for us, we didn't see it differently. For me, he was another competitor, and I wished him the best, and I wanted to just get to the slopes and do the best run I could, and even sometimes we were both doing our best runs. He was winning, sometimes I was winning, and it was just fun. Actually, before the Sochi Games, the last 6 races, Mikael finished first at the 3 first. I finished second, and the last 3 I won. 1-1-1 all 3, and Mick finished second. So we were always battling.
Wow.
That was a whole season where I was literally like, I'm going to set my alarm for 3 a.m. and watch a World Cup, that, and really what it culminates in is, to me, my favorite Olympic moment ever. And I would say, obviously, you share in that, but it really was a shared thing. The fact that Canada walked away in both the women's and the men's sides with both the gold and the silver, which to me was insane, and you have these 2 male competitors who are basically battling it out week after week after week. One is, up and coming, making his, first big step onto the big stage, and going for that back-to-back gold medal. And then you got 2 sisters battling out. Like, I really don't think I've seen anything like that in any sport. I mean, for your run though, specifically for, winning that gold, I'm curious to see what your take on it is, because I can remember watching that and not even knowing for a fact, okay, Alex is going to win this gold, but watching it and being like, that might be the most flawless run I've ever seen in my life. I mean, did you feel like I won it this time?
Yeah. Sochi for me, it was kind of my signature performance in my career. You can imagine, you always imagine the best performance and what at your peak in your shape in your sport, what is your dream performance? And Sochi was pretty much what I could expect from myself, the best I could do in my sport. And I don't know, it was often you do train on a course, you do multiple runs, a few days, you have 2 to 3 days of training ahead of a competition. So obviously, that course by heart, you try it, you find a limit, you push that limit, but having the best run of your week on that run, on the last final run is a bit of the odds, but also, I don't know, it was a perfect timing. Like, we often push the limit in training. And there was that thing during the week of training in Sochi. Every male athlete, we do our jumps, we do our training runs, and then by the end, you always try to what's the maximum speed that course can allow. So you'll do simple jumps. You're not doing high degree of difficulty. You're just gunning it. What's the maximum speed I can handle in that course? And nobody, and all coaches take the time of all competitors. My coach took the time of Mick and Dale and all the time, because we benchmark ourselves at the end of the training. And we knew by fact that nobody, even in training, could break the barrier of 25 seconds on that course in Sochi. For 3 days of training straight, even with straight jumps, no flips at all, nobody could go faster than 25 seconds. Nobody broke that time record. And so that I fast forward for my final run. I go and everything's going super smooth, super well. Well, that's the feeling I have on my way down. And it's like boom, 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 super smooth landing, perfect, jump, perfect. And when I cross the finish line, I kind of wake up and I'm like, oh my God, that was a perfect run, but I felt so slow. And I'm not even stopped yet on the finish line. I'm actually stopping in the finish, and I'm disappointed at myself because I'm kind of realizing I was hypnotized. It was so easy. I should have let myself go. I didn't push myself enough. And I'm like, when I'm going to watch the time, I'm going to be so slow. I'm like disappointed at me. And I look at the time and I'm like 24:86. I'm like, that's impossible. I'm like, that's physically impossible. I tried all week to be faster than 25 seconds. And so when I saw that, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, if Mick can actually beat that, like prompts, I'm like, I just did the best run I could on that course that day. I couldn't even know. I didn't know that I added it, that I added in me. And I was already thinking, Mick likes to watch the athletes from the top on TV. I hate it. I focus on my own thing. And I knew Mick saw that my run, and he saw my time.
That's impossible.
And I talked to him afterwards when we were actually sitting down, and I'm like, he's like, Rob came to see me. Rob was his coach, and he said like his coach went to see Mick just before he went, and he's like, you saw Alex time. Balls to the wall. You have you have to go for it. Like, wow. He didn't let you want like it's just like, and Mick knew it deep down. I think that's why he did he did a small mistake, but after kept it nice and then slowed down drastically in the middle section to make sure he was going to go down and finish on the podium. But he knew it was just like, oh my God, super fast.
Wow.
So,
what an incredible story. It's so amazing to hear it that way. Because, I mean, I'm looking here at the times. I mean, he went 7/10 faster than he did in the final beforehand. So, I mean, he's obviously still found time, even though you said he sort of had to slow down. But, I mean, that's just insane to think that you thought your time was slow. That's Usain Bolt levels of like, what more could have you done if you thought that was slow, Alex?
Yeah.
Absolutely
exactly.
crazy.
But we often call it athletes call it like easy speed. We often hear that kind of mindset in swimming. There's certain performance in your career that you'll just fall hypnotized in, like it's called easy speed, and you're like, wow, that was easy.
Yeah. It's crazy to hear. Like, I love hearing that from athletes when we're sitting here watching. I'm like, oh, that's impossible. But then it's like, yeah, easy speed. We can do that. That works. We're going to get to some wrap-up questions in a moment, Alex, but a couple of things I wanted to ask and just get some clarification on. We used to play, at the beginning of our episodes, we have like a series of commentary clips we play, and your gold from Sochi, we used to play the CBC commentary. And the commentator in that clip says, it takes a lot to make him happy, and he is clearly pleased. Now, I've been sitting on this for as long as we've had this show, Alex. You seem like a happy dude. I don't get where this commentator was coming from. I mean, what does it take you to make you happy? Is it winning the gold? I mean, or is he just out of turn? Like, you're always happy. Why was he saying it like that?
I had the reputation of being, and I'm still am, of being very difficult on myself and on what I really want, and I'm super transparent with the media. So when I'm not happy, I'm not happy,
Right.
and I say it. And when I'm not, even though I finished second and I felt like I did a mistake, I won't be happy. Or so I'm very difficult on myself, and even in training, I was a bit. I'm still intense in whatever I do in life. So, I mean, I'm 100% all out all the time. So
You
that's
seem
probably
happy to
what they're
me.
at.
That's at least maybe the Australian perspective. We don't see it that way. We always ask you, what do you do with the medals? Obviously, you've got a lot more than just Olympic medals. You've got a very big medal trophy cabinet going on there. But the 2 Olympic medals, are they somewhere special? Do they come out? Are they just in a sock drawer? Like, what do you do with them?
They're in a sock drawer, and I pull them out when I go. I give conference sometimes, or when I go to schools once in a while to to meet with kids. So yeah, I mean, they're there to be shared. So
Keep it safe. That's all that matters.
I have 2 really quick questions. Well, before we get to the final ones, first, Ben mentioned like you winning the gold medal. I mean, probably the only thing that can rival Donovan Bailey winning as far as like moments Canadians watch over and over again, partly because CTV played it about 100 times a day for the rest of the Olympics. But the only person who may be more recognizable after your win of the gold medal than yourself is your brother. I mean, was it hard for your brother to walk down the street after you won the gold medal? Because I mean, he probably achieved fame beyond most of the athletes who went on to win golds after you did.
Oh yeah, Frederick couldn't walk into Vancouver Street yet. He needed police escort, and my parents were a bit freaked out. Everywhere they were going, it was just mobbing. But yeah, I mean, Fred was, I mean, for multiple people, and you can just not imagine how many letters I've received at home after the Olympics, mentioning thank you for sharing your story, and now Canadian know what cerebral palsy is, and it's just like Fred is kind of in a prison, but he understands. He lives through the eyes of his brother, myself, and my sister Beatrice, and he's our biggest fans, and so we want to share it with him, whether it's in Vancouver or Torino, and even in Sochi. So I think it's part of being close, and yeah, so many we've received so many letters of and testimony of people across Canada. There was one that I remember very well. It's a little girl. She wrote me a really nice letter saying she had a sister with cerebral palsy, and her little sister had cerebral palsy, and often she was in primary school, and every time that her mom was coming to get her with her sister in the car, everybody were talking, hey, what does your sister have? And she says, before Vancouver or before your performance, none of my friends wanted to come and sleep over at my place because they were afraid of my sister. But now I'm the superstar in school because I just say my sister has the same thing as the brother of Alex.
Wow.
So it was just a really touching moment for us.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
I read this letter.
The second question I was just curious about is, we're a couple months away from seeing dual moguls make its debut. I mean, I would argue, especially during the end of your career, you may have been even better in dual moguls than you were in the individual moguls. How do you think you would have done? And also, for the athletes going into this, do you think that it's going to, trip some of them up? Like they're going to be more focused on one or the other?
There's certainly certain athletes that have a preference that are better at one than the other. I had a preference for duels. I love duels. It's more, there's more strategy involved and adapting your strategy to your opponent. And I mean, I really loved dual moguls and that pressure going in. So yeah, I know. I'm a bit disappointed I could have lived that experience of going at the Olympics with dual moguls. And it's so much. It's less interpretation with the judges. It's live, so it's kind of even like it's in your face, like it's red or it's blue, and it's I don't know. For me, it's a great event, and I'm looking forward to watching that event at the Olympics for the first time. They're very lucky to experience that.
And also the prospect that Mick's going to supersede you with maybe 3 gold medals now. If he does the double, then you know. Go ahead.
Yeah, chasing.
Yeah. I'm crossing my fingers for him. It's everything is gonna go well, and he's got obviously the ability, the experience, so he's definitely got the experience now, and experience is very important in duels, by adjusting your strategy, knowing which jump, where to put pressure within the course, where to put pressure on your opponent, so you force him to do a mistake on the way down. And sometimes even weaker or technically athletes can go further in duels because of that experience or that gauge of the other athlete. So
I'm very much looking forward to seeing it, because I don't follow it as closely as Colin. Obviously, from the Australian perspective, with Jakara and sort of seeing what she's achieved, we're looking forward to seeing that. But I'm also looking forward to seeing Colin potentially blow up, because I've been live with him watching the last 2 Olympics. So I remember 2018, his reactions to the men's and women's, and then seeing his disappointment in 2022, particularly even though we're celebrating. Our other co-hosts, both Australian, Jakara's winning gold, yes, she's channeling Dale, she's doing it, and Colin's like crying in the corner there with the De Point sisters, just doing that. So I'm just hopeful from a Canadian perspective that Colin might explode this time, because you will explode, Colin, if Mick does the double. I can't imagine what you'll do then. Right. Oh, yeah,
you will never see me on the show again. Let's hope he doesn't, if that's the case.
I'm kind of glad I'm not going to the moguls now when I'm over there, because I don't know what you would expect me to do in that situation.
Yeah.
Alex, we wrap up 10 get to know you fun style questions, which we'll go over these. And as I said to us, hopefully there's nothing here that you've answered before. Maybe we can get a new question for you in your entire media career here. But I'll start with the one thing that you never left home without when you used to travel to a competition. And you're not allowed to answer like skis, because that's an obvious one. I think you might need those.
My computer.
Your computer? Oh, nice. Was that like the mind of an accountant doing analytics, or were you doing other things?
Maybe I was studying, so I was never leaving home very long without my computer, and so
that works. All right. Colin, I hope you've got the questions. We didn't prep this. You do? All right. It's been a while since Colin and I have been on one together. Like, Colin, you've got the questions, right? All right, over to you, Colin. Yeah. I'll shut up.
So what's a tradition or a superstition that you follow before every big competition?
Funny, I had the superstition of not having any superstition. So sometimes I knew I was getting a few runs that were too good on my skis on the one side, and the other I was switching it just by making sure I had no superstitions on. So
I love that.
I picture, if you ever seen Apollo 13, I picture when they're mocking the media talking about superstition, it's like, oh, we had like a broken mirror underneath the lunar module ladder, and we decided to put a black cat on there.
Keep breaking it.
Exactly. I was that type.
That's hilarious. A song, I mean, it's obviously not Zombie Nation because you didn't pick that one, but a song that was on every one of your pre-competition playlists, no matter what.
Back then I was often listening to Papa Roach.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
No, Michael Bublé. I was going to ask you about the Juno Awards. I watched the clip of you presenting Michael Bublé, the album of the year there to Mr. Bublé. Didn't sort of take him on board after that?
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't listening too much to music back then, and I really didn't know much, but I had the opportunity to meet him at the Juno Awards, and it was very nice. After screwing his name up on the stage,
wasn't like John Travolta levels, at least, of kind of.
Yeah.
What is that like? I mean, going to something like that, which you probably never expect. I mean, you're hanging out with Michael Bublé. You possibly got Justin Bieber hanging around there. You might have to give him an award. I mean, that must be surreal.
It was surreal. I was going there, like I was expecting to have so much fun, meeting with new people, and back then it was the same time where the volcano in Ireland were erupting.
Ah, yeah.
So right after the event, we had to fly out if we didn't want to get stuck with the clouds for like a week. So everybody flew out that night, and unfortunately, didn't meet with all these. Didn't
go to the after party with the Beebs. Oh no, Nickelback after party. Come on.
We do have to find out, because Ben and I went through the nominees that year. Of the 5 nominees, which one would you be most likely to have listened to as you pump up? Would it have been Michael Bublé, Billy Talent, Diana Krall, Johnny Reid, or Justin Bieber?
Probably Billy Talent.
Yeah, all right.
There we go. I described it to Ben. I'm like, Billy Talent's kind of like a raunchier Nickelback, I guess.
Yeah, I was sort of like, who is that? And then when he described it, I'm like, raunchier Nickelback. Now I've got to check that out. So, okay.
Let me pull up the questions here.
You've got them, Colin. You've got them.
Come on. I do. This is one of the most fun questions. What is the most unexpected or funny DM you've ever gotten as an Olympian? Could be from fan. Could be from Ben. I don't know.
Hey, we don't talk about those ones.
The funny DM. That's a very good question. I have no clue. I had multiple funny DMs. Actually, after Vancouver, I changed my number.
Oh wow!
After Vancouver Olympics, I opened my cell phone, I closed it, and I've never opened it again. I changed number.
You could have a message
After
from
Vancouver.
Justin Bieber congratulating you, and you don't know.
I mean, it was just full of messages, like I think 1,000 texts and everything.
Wow.
And
was there anyone was like, what did you get? Like, did the Prime Minister contact you? Like, I remember when we had Penny
Dale's still waiting for his response.
I remember when we had Penny Alexiak on, we brought up the fact that like Justin Trudeau's tweeting about you, and she's like, yeah, I didn't care, but Drake tweeted about me. I love that. So like, I mean, was there like somebody cooler than the Prime Minister that congratulated you? You're like, yeah, okay, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, there was Prime Minister of Canada congratulated me, and obviously Prime Minister of the province also. And funny fact, Prime Minister of the province was on the slope that night, and he was right next to the finish area. And my brother came with my family to join me next to the finish area. And there was the Prime Minister putting his hand like that with like security guards behind. And I pushed him away to jump on my brother. Nice. Should have seen his face of Jean Charest. Jean Charest was just like, what the hell? He's pushing me. And you have like RCMP officer like, hey, what's happening? and I was just pulled my brother up to me, and they were okay. And actually, I crossed path with Jean Charest a few months ago, and he remembers that very clearly.
Probably does. I can't imagine you. I'm getting shoved out of the way here. This doesn't happen. Where's my Secret Service jumping in? Wow.
I mean, your brother needed a police escort, probably larger than he did after that.
The security weren't protecting the Prime Minister. They were protecting your brother.
Get
the Prime Minister out of the way.
My brother had more popularity than the Prime Minister of Quebec at that point. That's for sure.
Wow, I love that. The weirdest thing you've ever eaten at an international competition, and did you like it?
Oh my God! In China, I remember it's not that weird, but it was just weird the way it was. Remember I had to walking out of the hotel through the cafeteria, and there was like a huge bucket, kind of an aquarium full of frogs, and we came back from training and they weren't there anymore. Like, oh my God, I don't feel like eating frogs for lunch.
I'm not touching the food that they've just served me. Okay, moving on. Wow. That's crazy. We always the most common answers in that question are Norway and China. They're the two countries where I feel the
the sheephead in Norway.
Yeah,
when you have the royal dinner, that's a
I think it's a
Obviously,
secret to why they're both so good at Olympic sports then. They're weird foods. So there's something. Write that down, Colin. That's why Norway and China are so good. It's easy.
There's not much to eat on that sheephead, right? It's just like the cheek, but they eat everything else.
Yeah.
The eyeball and everything.
Eyeballs,
like,
yeah.
Indiana Jones, right? It's that scene in Temple of Doom. Oh, all right.
On the flip side of that, what's your ultimate guilty pleasure meal after a big competition? We know you don't eat breakfast anymore, but I mean, is there a big breakfast you used to eat after a competition?
I was I'm a big sushi lover, so for sure I was trying to get a good sushi place.
Nice.
Definitely.
You're from the home of my favorite food on the planet, poutine. So
Poutine, yeah.
You know, just send my love.
That's not a joke. What was your record, Ben?
I used to be quite large, Alex, and there was a reason behind that. I was I think I was in Canada for 3 weeks, and I set my goal of how many poutines can I eat. I think I went through 28.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There were 3 just when he was here in Winnipeg, one of which was Burger King, just because he said, I want to get the Burger King poutine.
But can I put a caveat of that I know that's like absolute bottom of the barrel poutine in Canada, but compared to what we get in Australia, that's top. Like, poutine's technically illegal here, Alex, because cheese curds are illegal in Australia. So if you want genuine poutine here, it's so hard to find. So I did go to an all-you-can-eat poutineery in Vancouver. That was fun. So
all you can eat poutine.
Yeah, so you pay like,
God,
I think it was like $30, and they show you the menu. What one do you want to start with? So you go with one, then I got through like 1.5 because it was quite filling. But I lost a lot of weight since then, Alex. I stopped.
All he did was cut out the poutine. Nothing else changed.
I miss it. Oh, I miss it. I miss it so much. If you could swap sports for a day with another Olympian, what event would you choose, and how do you think you would go?
That's a good question. Probably gymnastic.
Okay.
I don't know. I have good respect and tremendous respect for these athletes that are so complete. I mean,
good answer.
And it's
like
still
that.
fun to jump.
Yeah. Translates quite well. We all our Australian moguls and aerial skiers are stolen from gymnastics, so do it the other way around. Go to gymnastics. So.
Or skeleton, just dive into the fast track and try to not die.
That would help.
I just think if you go into gymnastics like trampoline, you're just looking to compete with Rosie McLennan. You're like, I can do 2 gold medals in back-to-back in multiple winter and summer.
Exactly. I did trampoline for a long time also. It did really help my so I was doing routines and everything. I was doing triples on trampoline. So I was quite good. So at one
There's still time.
You're still young, Alex.
You know,
come back.
My back is going to tell you no. It's too late.
Now I'll give you a bit of a tease here. This next one, there may be some fun media that can go along with this, but if your Olympic journey were a movie, what would the title be, and who would play you?
Hey, the title of the movie. Hey, that's a good question. You're talking to an accountant now, not a guy. I don't know.
We're going to get some help. We always get ChatGPT to help us out here a little bit sometimes.
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
They give us one. So if you can't
Definitely.
think of one, just on that though, while we get that up, have you ever been given a doppelganger for like an actor or somebody like that who maybe could play you in a movie? Or Colin, I don't know if you've got any ideas here because
I could throw Dave Franco, if you know who he is.
Yes.
He's James Franco's brother. Now You See Me movies.
Yep.
Very popular.
There was somebody on the top of the tip of my tongue going like, who does he look like? There's an actor there, and now as you say that, Dave Franco, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. That's a good one. Let's see here what ChatGPT says in the meantime, because usually I'm more prepared for this, Alex, but apparently not. They've gone here, they're pretty basic. Home gold, defending glory, avalanche. Don't know about that one. You're not full. That's a bit. Avalanche. Don't know where they're going with that one. The moguls king.
Have you seen the movie of Molly Bloom, the sister of Jeremy Bloom?
No.
It's called Molly's Game.
Okay.
Oh yeah, she was former mogul skier, Jessica Chastain. Yeah,
she was a mogul skier and then become the mogul of gambling and in LA and but she's a sister. It's a true story, and she's a sister of Jeremy Bloom. which was in Torino Olympics also.
Right. Well, because I mean,
the first scene of that movie is like the only time I think moguls has ever been depicted on film. And I'm not lying when I said I paid to watch that opening weekend because I heard it would involve mogul skiing. I'm not even lying.
I told you he's obsessed. That's we always like to
and
like.
It's a bit exaggerated too. That beginning, like drastic, like she falls and like boom, boom, like oh my god, like that's Hollywood. Like
we always like to try and equate it to James Bond to see if James Bond's ever done it. And like James Bond's done more winter sports than summer sports in his movies, but he's not done moguls. So maybe
Bond 26.
Idris Elba.
I remember him going down like with his gun, like
on a bobsled track on skis.
Down.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking actually, and the fun fact too that a lot of people probably don't realize where curling is at the Milano Cortina Olympics. That is the scene, if you remember, in For Your Eyes Only, when he takes on some ice hockey players. That's the same venue. So where curling is at is a James Bond location as well. So there's a geek connection of us James Bond fans. The ChatGPT titles here, Alex, are shit. I'm going to be honest with you. Gold Pressure, Legacy Lines, two-time legend. I mean, we're going to come up with something better.
Boring.
ChatGPT.
I would say, as an accountant, 1 + 1 = 2 golds. That's what I would go with.
Yeah.
There you go. We're going to make a poster of that and make it better than the crap that ChatGPT is giving, because I like that one. Colin Hilding. There you go. We've got two more. The deep one and the sort of deep one, which you might have already answered this in this interview, actually. The one question you're tired of being asked, and what is the one that you wish people would ask you instead?
Tired of being asked. What did it feel like when you won the Olympics? I mean, just like
I'll edit that one out.
Question.
Yep.
And one that I would like to be asked. I don't know. Things behind the scene that people don't really talk about. Have you watched Icarus, the movie, the documentary on Sochi Olympics and doping, and it's on Netflix.
I always forget the name of it, but now a long time ago I did watch it when it first came out.
Watch it. I got food poisoning the night before my event in Sochi, and I couldn't sleep, and I had 3 doctors around me and we couldn't find anything, and I had cramps, and it stopped an hour before the final the day after, so 24 hours after I had dinner. So I went to dinner, came back, and I had like stomach ache, and I couldn't actually almost walk. It was terrible. And it was not random, I'm sure.
That's how you made the impossible time, though. We can just say that.
Maybe, but in qualifiers,
know.
in the afternoon in qualifiers, I had a magic bag with EAT on my back with a microwave on top and a microwave at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I had a volunteer of the team running the heat back for me because I couldn't ski almost. I was like just jammed. And that's one thing that happened there. And another thing, we got weird test doping controls. I got doping controlled 20 minutes before the first training, and I missed the complete first training at Sochi Olympics because of the doping test, and they didn't have any skiers, so that was not legit as per the rule, but. Russian didn't really care.
It sounds very much like
things happened.
The Michael Jordan story about him getting food poisoning. What was that in the finals in Utah, wasn't it? And he's like, oh yeah, maybe they slipped something in my pizza or something like that. Like that's crazy. That's crazy.
And it was weird because at the beginning of the Olympics in Sochi, multiple people that won number 1 in the world or number 2 contenders. Got weird doping control, and that there was a lot of complaints to the International Olympic Committee after the first few days, and about these doping control because they were planned. You never do a doping control on the training time. You'll wait after the training and you'll do them. So it was it was planned to reduce the training time of certain athletes. And anyways, so all of that happened. Then I got the food poisoning. There was multiple stories of other athletes getting weird things, and they were all leaders in their sport. And we thought it was odd that I got food poisoning the day before the Olympics. And when I saw the Icarus documentary, you're like, oh my God.
Makes sense.
It's maybe not a coincidence.
I mean,
what happened there.
I don't know the Russian word for karma, but there is a Russian word for karma, and I guess that's happened in the last 10 years.
They're
right?
in the middle of it now.
And I was like, and maybe the movie title then needs to be something related to having the runs, maybe on the run. The runs.
Oh my God.
Having the runs that got you the run to win the gold. Like, I don't know. So, anyway, not to turn this interview completely shit. Colin, bring it home. One more question.
Well, Ben mentioned you kind of answered this all the way back at the beginning, but I mean, you can elaborate on it, or if there's another you can think of. What's one lesson you've learned from losing that you think has shaped you more than winning?
There's so many things that are out of our control in life and sport. The only thing we can do as athletes is putting yourself in a position to succeed. And that's all we have to focus on, and then live with whatever what will happen. And at the end of the day, if you do that, you put the odds on your side, and we'll see what happens. But you can't control your fate. You can't, or not your fate, but you can't control what's going to happen and the uncontrollable. And like multiple things in life, there's multiple things that we do not control. So that made me kind of not stressed, but being more comfortable within that stress, being in that type of mindset. So that helped me quite a bit.
Great answer.
I've learned that through Torino.
Yeah, fantastic. And we always, as I always say at this point, we always like to end it on that question, because I feel it brings a nice little bow on the chat and kind of brings it full circle there. Alex, mate, we so appreciate your time on the show to go over everything and to join us here and celebrate your career, Dale's career, Mick's career, lots of careers. But people want to stay in touch with what you're up to. You've got a great website, social media. Where can people sort of follow what you're up to sort of nowadays in post-retirement, Alex Bilodeau land?
I mean, now my life is a bit more it's a bit more boring, but still, I started my own business in private equity. I started my own fund here out of Montreal, low mid market private equity fund, and so you can reach to us at a2partners.ca or my own on my own website at alexbilodeau.com also.
Beautiful.
And yeah.
If I'm ever in need of an accountant next time in Quebec, I'll look you up. So we'll go get some poutine.
Bring him a copy of Lillehammer 94 for SNES and do a clean trade.
Poutine, SNES, video games and poutine and accounting. That sounds like a good night to me.
Exactly. A few Excel spreadsheet. Always fine.
Alex, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.